Good evening. It's me. It's been such a long time. Well, at least since Friday. But welcome to Tuesday evening in the Sew with Trisha group. So let's just see who is going to join us tonight. And it looks like Janet's watching already. And I'm just going on to... let's have a look, see if I can see if I'm live. No, it doesn't show me yet. Excuse me. So we'll go out and come back in again. Not showing on my phone just yet, but lots of you are there. I can see. Let's just go out there and come back there. Oh, there we are. There we are. I can see. That's better. That's better. Right. Just make sure we are muted. And let's see who's here. Lots of comments. So, hello, Janet. Hello, Patricia. Hello, Judith and Jill. And John, of course. Hi, John. Can't forget you, can I? Hello, Jane. Hello, Leslie. Oh, fantastic. Hello, Christine. Enjoyed your travels, Christine. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, hopefully. Hello, Jane, Maria, Jill. Jill, I haven't sent the things over to be proofread because I started doing them this afternoon and then pressed something wrong and it deleted everything I'd written. I could not believe it. But it's amazing how once you've written it once, everything just comes back to you and you get it done quicker than the first time round. So never mind, the PDF is in the group for tonight's demo, the USB stick holder. But I'll tell you some other things you can do as we go along to be able to change it to whatever you would like it to be. So hello, Joanne. Hello, Kathleen. Hello, Patsy. Oh, yes, you're on time. No problem. I was dead on time because I was in a hurry. Hello, Yvonne. Hello, Sue. Hello, Susan. Hello, Carol. Hello, Christine. So I was just saying more parcels have gone out today. The Clover Tube Makers have gone out today. Susan's parcel's gone out. Yvonne's parcel's gone out. Who else can I see there? There's still just a couple to do, but they will be tomorrow or Thursday. Got a bit of cutting to do. So hello, Caroline. Hello, Maria, Christine, and Christine. I'm sure Facebook puts the same names together. Hello, Dorothy. Oh, love from John. Oh, that makes me feel good. Hello, Vanessa. Hello, Marilyn. Hello, Sandra. And Pollyann. Oh, I love that word. I love that word. Young. I don't feel it these days, but there we go. All normal now, cooking dinner. Cannot complain. You did it. Yes. Oh, you missed a lot of nasty, cold, wet, windy, horrible weather. Now looking forward to stroking material and chatting to your sewing machine. Absolutely do. And I'm sure there's plenty of things you can catch up on now as well. Oh, I've got comments coming up there. So who have I got? Thank you. Okay. Hello, Susan. Hello, Marilyn. And hello, Juliet. Sue, Lynn. No internet. Oh, gosh, you're absolutely right. Don't they know it's Trisha time? It is indeed. Yes, there's Marilyn, Linda, Jan, and Sandra saying hi. Well, you're saying hi to Sandra. So, yes, tonight's no. Before we start, what I will say is, please download PDFs. Unbelievably so, but in 3 days' time, it's going to be the 31st of January. 1st of February on Saturday. Oh my goodness, where has January gone? I know for some, it seems like a long, long month because, I don't know, because you've got Christmas in between, it feels like a 6-week month, but it's not. But it just feels that bit longer, but it has gone quickly. Oh, Jane, that's a shame. I'll give him her love. I think there's loads of bugs going around. Somebody said they'd got the 100-day cough again. I thought, oh no. Now last week, I felt as though I was getting a cold. Just came on in the evening, just after 9 o'clock. And I thought, oh my goodness, I just feel rough. Woke up in the morning, fine. And then final day, get to 9 o'clock, and I feel rough again. But touch wood, it's gone. I don't need anything. I don't need bugs. No, I really don't. So, hi Linda. Oh yes, hopefully it's not going to play up for you. Hello Sharon. Hello Wendy. Patricia's already downloaded. Fantastic. It just saves a rush at the end, doesn't it? Hello Karen. Oh dear. Oh, there's problems everywhere. Oh, well, I hope he's all right. And, yeah, you keep an eye on him and you can always watch later. Evening, Karen. And evening, Marion. Now, there's lots going on tonight. I've seen there's quite a few lives going on tonight. So, obviously, you know that if you can't watch this live, you can always watch it later on. And it will be there ad infinitum. Okay. So, yes, so there's nothing. Clover tube makers have gone out. There's still a couple left. If you don't know what they are, here is mine. Do you know, I couldn't find it the other day, and there it was. I put it straight in front of me. It's a little other bit. 1, 2. Oh, no, they're stuck together, aren't they? Comes in a little box. Whoops, like that. And it comes in 2 parts. There's 2 little bits here. You just pop them apart. Whoops. And you drop them. But it comes in 2 little parts. And again, you drop it. But I'm not going to pull it apart. So it's like this. And it helps with the jelly rug roll making. Hello, Tony. Hello, Jack. Oh, don't worry. Hello, Elaine. Who did I miss there as well? That's it. No, nobody. Let's just pick that up. Because what we can do is tread on it and break it. Have you done that with a bobbin? The bobbins fell on the floor and you tread on it and break it. Not good. Okay, let's just slop that back together again. Just click, in it goes. So back in the box, and then we won't lose it. So they are £16 plus postage. Hi Joanna, hello Elaine. And, oh, we said Elaine, didn't we? I'm going to demo this on Friday evening. So you can just drop me an email if you decided you want one. But I think there's 3 left now. And then they're gone. Okay, so let's get on to tonight. Oh, you were just about to ask, Juliet. So I haven't got I haven't got a sample up here, but what it does, or what it makes easier, when you make a jelly roll rug, when you make a jelly roll rug, you use strips of fabric and wadding, and you have to fold it just like when you're making a bag handle or strap. You fold the raw edges to the middle and then fold it over again, and then you stitch either down the middle. I tend to go down the side to join it together, and then you stitch it into a round. I'm going to show you, Jane, on Friday. I'll demonstrate it. So then you stitch it together, either in an oval shape, so it becomes a oval rug, or you can do it in a circular, round and round and round. You're stitching all those tubes together. Hello, Isabel. That's fine. And also, I have a bag coming up that I'm going to make as well. Hi, Bev. So I'm going to demonstrate that on Friday, and I'll have a couple more samples to show you as well. So they're really good. And so, so getting back to, that's how you make the tubes. So when you have folded them, you either need to have pins to hold it together while you stitch, or binding clips. So you need loads of binding clips. Hello, Elizabeth. Are you keen to see it, Sandra? Okay, Jane. This way, you load one of the biggest piece on first, and it folds the edges in just like a bias tape maker. And then the second bit goes on as well, and it folds it the second time. So you keep these green pieces, these plastic pieces, on your strip, and you just keep pulling one down after the other, and it folds it for you. So all you're doing is stitching on a regular basis rather than stop, start, stop, start. Really quite clever. Hello, Sue, and hello, Karen. So let's get on to tonight, shall we? So I have got two different, they're both the same thing, USB stick holders. Oh, Virginia's watching. Virginia, while you're watching and listening to me, I have sent your parcel. I did send you an email to ask if the address was correct for sending it somewhere else. Ah, there we are. Hello, Virginia. And because the shipping address was different, but the postcode was wrong, because I thought it doesn't look right. And I looked it up and I've changed it to what on the postcode finder is the correct address. So, if you have a look at your account on the website, where there's a 4, it should be an 8, if you'd like to double check that as well. I mean, probably I should have held on to it even longer, but I thought, I think I'm right. So if you want to check that to make sure. Okay. Hello, Sue. Lovely to see you tonight. So I've got 2. There is a third one, which I will show you another time, because that's made slightly differently. Lovely. Okay. Hello, Leslie. That's fine. So let me show you. This is one I showed you the other day, didn't I? As a little sneaky peek. So this one is for, there we are. That's just to pop it together. So this one is the single pocket holder. Now this technique you can use for making a knitting needle holder, a crochet hook holder. Hi, Sandra. Makeup brushes, pens, pencil case, that sort of thing. Anything like that. Oh, that's good, Jack. So that's your single one. Or I've done a double one. And if you can imagine, this one has got pockets. Whoops, that one's falling out. I should tuck them in, but I wanted you to be able to see the USBs in there. So this one is a double one. And really, hi, Mary. Yes, that's right. It is 8. Yeah, it said 4 on the thing. That's all right, Virginia, as long as it's right. So yes, this is your double pocket holder. So I'm going to show you the double one tonight, because although it's the same, we'll get to one step on this, and that's where you stop for the single one, or you carry on and do the double one. And I've got this rolling the other way. Okay, so that your ribbon can wrap around there and up. So, oh, good. So as I say, it is really, really straightforward to do, but because it's quick and easy. Hi, Janet. I think it'll also be really good for your craft fairs. A nice, quick, easy make. And if you want it to make it smaller or larger, you might want to make it wider, because you want to put lots of colouring pencils or pro markers, you know, your alcohol ink pens. Hi, Josie. You can just adapt it to whatever size you like. Crochet hooks, absolutely. So, as I say, I have got a third one, but I'm not going to show you that because we'd need to put that together differently. And I was in a bit of a rush to get the instructions done for you. So I thought I haven't got a chance to actually make another one and then be able to do the instructions as well. So we'll do that another day. Okay. So basically, I'm doing this for USB holder, and therefore my measurements will do that. Oh, that's all right, Virginia. That's fine. So I have sent it to the right one. I didn't know whether you meant the right one was the 4 or the 8. And so I was sort of thinking, oh, please be the 8. Fantastic. Okay, so if you are making, the measurements are in the PDF, and it's just slightly, I've done it the same width. Oh, little phone chargers, they're good. Ideas come up as we go. I need to put my iron on for that bit of fabric. So, For the one I'm going to make, we are doing 14 inches long by 9 inches to give me 2 pockets. If you're going to make it for a knitting needle holder, hi Nikki, what I would do, I would measure your knitting needles plus a bit, because you want them sticking out, don't you? And double that length, and then add a little bit more for a flap. So if your knitting needles are 12 inches long, I would then say, right, I'm going to cut a piece 24 inches long because it's double. So that will contain it. And then the other bit, the flat bit, comes over the top. So you might want 6 inches. So if you cut it 30 inches long, and if you want to have, you will only do your channels, which I'm going to be doing at a certain distance. You will only need to do that quite narrow, perhaps half an inch, and have lots of them. Oh, varnish bottles. Wristband guest after. Yeah. What a great idea. See, lots of ideas. So, yes, so the channels would be different. But you have all got designers in you yourself when you see how to make this, because, boy, it's easy. Now, I think one little thing, I have done this quite a few times, but rather than cutting your outer fabric, your lining fabric, and your wadding all the same size, which means you will have wadding, or I'm using fusible fleece, so that nice, you know, that sort of stuff. The cheapest fusible fleece there is, but it's really, really good. Rather than having it in your seam allowances, which can detract, or it can make your top stitching that little bit more difficult on certain machines. And also, if you don't have the wadding, hi Barbara, in your seam allowance, it means you get neater edges. It makes them, I don't know if you can see by this one, but it is really, really quite neat there because there's no wadding. It's nice and slim because the wadding is in the rest of it, not on those edges. So let's have a look. So what I've already done, whoops, take that back a bit. I'm just going to turn myself just to give this iron a little bit of this fabric a little bit of a press, because it looked a little bit creased where it had been sitting there. Okay, so if you cut your, there's my lining fabric, there's my outer, and I've already fused my wadding. So you cut your wadding or fusible fleece to the size that you want it to be. So I was looking at 14 by 9 for this. So I've cut my fusible fleece at 14 by 9. If you cut your outer fabric and lining fabric larger, that's what you want, because you can always trim that back later. So I have got it on the measurements. You can center it, but I've got excess all the way around the edges, which is just what I wanted. So what we're going to do, having fused this so that I got excess fabric around the edge, I'm actually going to be stitching right around the edge of the fusible fleece. So I don't want to stitch on it. I want to stitch through the fabrics and not the wadding, but we'll use that as a guide, so we don't really have to think too much about it. Oh, thank you, Sharon. I know, my creaky chair. I've binned the other one because that was just dipping me everywhere. Jack, that's exactly what's in mine. Mine have got all my USB ones. So that's why I thought the more I make, the better. The other one I've got, no, I won't say about that, can also hold something else as well. Okay. I'll try my, I don't think USB, I think I need a new chair basically. Okay. Right. So I have my outer fabric and I have my lining fabric, and now I'm going to pop them right sides together and drop one. Right sides together. I'm going to pop it down here on the table because it's easier. So let's see what you can see. I need to turn my light down, I think. Yep. There we go. Okay. That is better. Okay, so I've got my fabric, and hopefully I've cut these the same size. Let's just see, because I actually just took some scrap bits, and so as long as, yeah, they're not exactly the same size, but if you have got your lining and outer fabric at the same size, it means that you can just line those outer edges up, and you know, that's it. Let's just see. Oh, that's not so good. Let's move this down here a little bit, because obviously I want to stitch through my outer and lining fabrics. I don't want to have a gap. So what I can do is just lift up, just make sure. And what I'm going to do, really unusual for me, is let's put a few pins, because I noticed when I was making one earlier, my fabric had slipped out of the way. But unlike me, we'll put a few pins in here just to hold our fabrics together. Okay. So we can come in just a little bit closer. Put my phone there so that I can see. Right. Now I'm going to pop that up a little bit higher, actually. John's just come up with a good idea. Good for her. Yeah, bless him. Wouldn't it just? It would, actually. Only a man could say that. Saying that these days, I mean, I've got used to it now, but you never used to see the mention of tampons or tenor lady on the TV, but it's just commonplace to talk about whatever. So yeah, why not? It's no big deal. It doesn't happen to me anymore, which is quite good, or very good, I should say. Keeps them, yes, it does keep them private, absolutely. So, where we're going to start stitching, I'm stitching along a long edge. There's my short edge. So I'm going to start probably just over, I put halfway down on the instructions, but just over halfway down, because we want to leave a gap in one of the long edges. So when I start, I'm just going to reverse. I've actually, yes, I've got a nice short stitch length so that I have a good seam around the edge, and a good strong seam, I should say. And I am stitching just to the right of that fusible fleece. So it's giving me a really good guide. And when I've got to the corner, I'm going to make sure that I'm not on that fleece at all. And I'm just stitching. So it's like having it marked on your fabric where you're going to stitch. So you haven't got to worry about your 1/4 inch seam allowance and getting it just right, because it's like this is the line that you are stitching on. Right, so let's go down the other long edge. So go as slowly or as comfortably, a nice comfortable speed that you're quite happy with. No need to go too fast, but let's see, there we go. Right, so I'm just coming along a top edge now. Now, what I should have said before, so I've got a rectangle because I'm doing the double one. If you were making the single holder, a single pocket holder, then before we stitch together, I mean, you can do it exactly like this, no problem at all. But if I bring this, so if you're doing the single one, you can curve the top edge, you can curve the edge here. This obviously at the bottom is the straight edge, but you can curve that edge, and I think it makes it a little bit nicer. But when you're doing the double pocket one, I would stick with a square edge at both ends. So I'm just going to come down this next side here, or I'm coming towards where I started, and I'm going to stop probably anywhere between 4 and 6 inches. Okay, so I have, not that you can see particularly well, because the stitching is hidden by the fusible fleece. It's just to the side there. I don't know if you can see how close that is to that. And I've got a little bit of excess, so I am going to trim around, just make sure that I've stitched. Yes, I've got a seam allowance all the way around. So I'm going to trim this fabric probably to about 1/4 inch if it's not already a 1/4 inch. But what I'm going to do along here, where I have left my gap, I'm going to leave that. Can you see? Well, there's my gap. My gap starts there as well. So let's just cut down there. And you could trim the seam allowance, because it's only about 1/2 inch bigger in the instructions. You could trim it down to about 1/8 of an inch if you wanted to, which would then give you that larger piece over the opening. And I'll show you what difference it makes by having the extra fabric around an opening. It just makes it far easier to get a really good continuous side to your projects when you're tucking that fabric in the raw edge. And sometimes it bows out a little bit and it doesn't give you a perfect finish. But having the extra fabric there, it's got more to tuck in, and it doesn't give any bulk, even though it's a little bit wider. Let's push that on the floor. So I've trimmed that all the way round, and there you can see that quite easily now. It's like a tab, isn't it, on a card. So then I'm going to trim off my corner points. There's one. There's two. I was thinking in the house. What are we saying here? We've both been brought up not to be embarrassed. Absolutely. Absolutely. I wasn't actually. My mum never. Oh, she's listening. No. But, it's something these days you just talk about. And fine. It's natural. And why not? Okay. So I've clipped off all my corner points now. And all I'm going to do is turn this to the right side. So I've got a nice big opening, so I can tuck that through and pull the rest through like so, and put my hand in there even. There we go. Good evening, Michelle. Oh, drinks with friends, yes. How nice. Okay, pop that through, just poking that out with my nail. All these edges, I haven't pressed them, but they're going really, really neatly. So I'm just putting very naughtily, the end of my scissors in there. And the thing is with the corners as well, if you trim those points off, when you come to top stitch around those corners, it stitches so much better than if you've got a bulky, if you've got wadding in there in particular, it makes it really bulky. And quite often you'll get a stitch where it's skipped and you'll have a long stitch instead of continuous straight stitches. So you can see there, although I can see that bit of fabric, that's ready to go back really, really nicely. So next thing is to the ironing board. And, whoops. There we go, sorry, up the ironing board. So now I'm just going to give this a little press. We shall need our ruler in a moment. So why not just fall out? In we go. Okay, so I do tend to, first of all, press the edges, and that just went so flat and just beautifully neat. So these are the edges where there are no gaps. And that's just, when you've got wadding in there, it doesn't look quite as neat as that. So let's just give that a steam. So I've got steam in this as well. I must admit, I do love a bit of, the quilt police aren't out on this one. Okay, so here is our opening with that little extra bit of fabric there. Whoops, let's go that way. So what we can do now, so this piece, the lining, hasn't got any wadding on it. But where there is wadding, that will just tuck back. And I'll give that a little press where that tucks back, because that is beautifully straight. And I've got that very neat. So it goes to the edge of where the wadding is. And then when you bring the lining fabric over, you've got that extra bit there. And you can just line that up. So I'm just pulling that, I'm just lining the lining up with the edge of our outer fabric, which has the wadding on it. So when I've got that nice and, as I say, neatly aligned, and then you've got a nice straight edge along there. Sometimes it can bulk out or it can just go out a little bit, but that's still beautifully straight, which is exactly how we want it to be. And being able to press it into place, it's going to make it go together really, really easily. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to top stitch all the way around that edge. So we'll take that back to the machine here. And I'm going to stitch close to the edge here. So I like 1/8 of an inch, something like that. Now I've got my, so where I can see a little bit of fabric, I'm going to just pull that over as I stitch. I'm just going to pull that over. Oh, no, you can't see that there. I'm just going to pull that over so that is really close to the outer fabric. So always I start where the gap is. I like to close that first of all. So I will increase my stitch length as well. I'll have, rather than a really small stitch, I'll go to the default 2.5. And then, as I said, I'm going to be close to the edge, 1/8 of an inch from the edge. And over that opening first of all, so that we know we don't have to worry about that. The rest of it now is just going right around that edge. Okay, so we've got to the corner. Whoops, I was looking at the screen there, I went off a little bit, but hopefully we won't even notice that. So we are close to there, and back down here. So down the other side. And I say the pressing is so much a crucial part of getting good results. If we press as we go, it means that everything goes together really, really well. We could have just rolled back the edges here and not pressed, but boy, I tell you, pressing, it really makes for a good result of your finished product or project. So we'll just go into that corner again and then back around. And I can see my little bit of thread there. So that's where we shall finish. And I should just go over the first 2 or 3 stitches. That's from where I started, so that is nice and secure. So clip that little bit off. And also it's best to clip this as you go. And then you can't, I can just see, but it would take a blind man, a blind man to see that really, really good, really well. Okay, so we have our piece now. There is our front and there is our lining. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to make our pockets at each end like that. So if you are doing the single pocket, so one down here, you will have a curved end more than likely up this end. So you'll know which one the pocket's going to be. And for our next bit, we're going to stitch down the side. So if you're doing the single, all you would do now is stitch from this edge and then all the way around the curve down to the bottom. And then we'll do our channels in there. But we're going to do the double one. So we're going to have one at each end as well. Leslie's making birthday cards. Right, okay. So, now in the instructions, I have, this is where we need the ruler. I have done my pockets 3 inches deep. One of them I did at 2.5, but the instructions I say I've done for 3. So all I'm going to do is put a ruler, let's lift that up there, a ruler here, and it actually, yeah, it's the length of my ruler at 14. So if you pop a pin 3 inches, whoops, don't move the ruler, at 3 inches, or you can make a mark with a pen, with a friction pen, and this end as well, 3 inches. And then we'll just whiz this around to the other side, and we'll do exactly the same here. We're going to have 3 inches, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. There we are. So we've got our 3 inches marked then at both sides, and all we're going to do is fold along that pin. So there is our pin, fold that up. I like to use a binding clip here just to hold that, and 3 inches there. And if your stitching has all been reasonable, that should just, all your edges along here should line up. So we've got those 2 on there. I might just pop, ow, you see, I can prick myself just like that. Put a pin in there just to hold that. And then we'll do exactly the same at this end too. We'll just fold that up on the pin. So if you just fold it there, and we'll pop a clip just there, and similar on this end too. There's the pin right in that center, and I haven't got another binding clip, but we can pop that on, and that fits perfectly too. So I can take these fold ones out. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to stitch down both of these sides. So again, I've just left it at the same 2.5, and this time though I'm going to do 1/4 inch seam allowance, and it gives a double row of stitching. So can you see the double row there? Or actually it's easier to see it on this one. Let's just see here. So you've got your double row of stitching down there. Let's pop that back in there. What I did on this other one, I've actually used, although let's have a look, I've used the triple stitch along here where I did my pockets, pocket tops. So that could look really nice if you want to use the triple stitch along here. I've just gone all the way around the edge, but if you did triple stitch all the way around, it actually, you know, it makes it look, it makes it stand out, so it looks a lot better. Okay, Patricia? Okay, so I'm starting at this bottom edge, the folded edge, and I am just going to reverse there as well. And I can take that clip off now and carry on with my 1/4 inch. And when I get to the top of this pocket, I'm just going to reverse there, ow, just to give that, unbelievable. This is why me and pins do not work. I just managed to clip myself with that. Okay, so then when I get to the top of the other one, I'll just reverse a little bit there, and down to the bottom, and reverse at the bottom there. Okay, so that's one side you can see done there, and then swivel round to the other side and reverse at the beginning. Just hold that down so that you know those sides. Reverse over that pocket to the top of the pocket, because that's where it is going to get a little bit more wear as you take one out and pop one back in again. There we are, and then just reverse at the bottom there. Okay, so pin out there. Let's get rid of pins for good, honestly. Right, so here, oh no, that's not there. So I'll trim that little bit of thread away there and there. Flip it over. Got a little bit there, double bit there, and there, none there. Okay, so even on the back, down those sides there as well. So it just adds a little bit to it. So I mean, as it stands, that might be quite good for baby nappies, the disposables. You could put one in there and fold it, or you could have a pack of tissues, the soft packs, fold it in half. It's really quite, or if you've got a long notebook, you could put that there. Dead easy. Now, the last thing for your USB sticks, or let's say, if you've got narrow little tube things, you just do narrow channels. So you can have as many as you liked along both sides. But as we're doing USBs, I've looked at there we go. I've looked at the measurement here, and I think that is between the 2 rows of stitching, 8.5 inches. So how it works, I've got to use pins again. Oh my goodness. If you divide this up evenly into 5 separate compartments, so 1 3/4, divide that up nice and evenly, which means 1 3/4 is the first one, 3.5 is the next one, 5 1/4 is the next one, and 7 is the next one. So having done it along that edge, I also need to do it along the other edge as well. So let's just put my ruler down, and again, 1 3/4, 3.5. So where I'm putting pins, 5 1/4, you could actually draw a line if you wanted to. If you feel happier drawing a line, so I've got my pins in. If you want to draw a line all the way down there, because what we're going to do is we're going to stitch from one end to the other. Now, you don't have to. I decided that I quite would like what would be quilting. Oh, hello, Shirley. I'd quite like to go the whole way along because it looks as though it's quilted from the other side as well. Or you can just stitch to the top of that pocket or the bottom, a little reverse and stop, and then start down here. So I have got my markers in place. So I'm going to pop that down on my needle down there, and I'll do exactly the same. I'm going to reverse 2 or 3 stitches, and then I can see where I'm heading. So if you want to reverse 2 or 3 stitches there, you can, and carry on here, reverse a couple there, and then straight down to where that pin is, and reverse again there. So there's our first line already stitched. So we'll do exactly the same here. So I'm seeing where that pin is, just there. Okay, and just pull that thread out of the way. I will always start there, or rather, I will always reverse at the beginning and the end, because I think that's quite important. Whether you do in the center is entirely up to you. So let's just see where this one is going. Can't see where my pin is now. There we go. There we go. So I've got my pin there, and reverse, and I'm just heading straight for this pin. No, I thought my thread had broken there, but it hasn't. And then straight down to that pin there, and just reverse. Now, rather than have all of those in the or all of the work to the right of my machine, I'm just going to, oops, I'm looking to see where that's coming from. There, that's it. I'm just going to turn the work around, and then I'll come back down the other way. Okay, so I'm just looking to where my pin is, and just stitching down there. Okay, so now's the time to start trimming off all those little bits of thread. That must be on the other side, a little bit there, and then we go to the back and just take those little bits off and neaten it up a little bit there. That's so if you normally get bird nesting, I would use a donkey or a leader, just there, so that you won't get that at all. I've got a little bit just there, but you can always just go in. It's only where the threads have been stitched over as the machine started off. There we are. So that's still nice and neat. And there is your USB holder. So the only thing I need to do now, I decided I didn't want to, you could fold it that way. So if you want to fold it that way, you would need to put some form of closure here, but it's on the top of your pocket. So I decided on this one, I would put my closure on my ribbons here, which if you wanted to put your cam snaps, you could do that. But it does, when you've got the USBs in there, it does tend to spring open. So I thought it'd be nice to have a ribbon in between this little gap. There's the pockets in between here, so that you could roll it like so. And I think that works pretty well. And we'll have our ribbon here. So the easy way, so I'm going to pop myself a pin. We want myself a pin in the center of there. And then I'm just going to get myself a piece of ribbon. It doesn't need to be too long. What have I done mine? About 24 inches long. And I'm going to fold it in half. And so I've got the folded part there. I'll trim these ends so that I like to have angled ribbon. There we are. So just to fray, it's going to fray less if you trim them off diagonally. So there is my folded, you can see there. Whoops, there we are. That's the folded part. So if on the other side, so on the right side, I pop the fold onto the outside, the outer fabric, and I'll just put a pin in there to hold it. So that's held just there. And then I'm just going to stitch a little square around there through all those layers. Oh, that's right. What's a donkey? Somebody said. It's a scrap of fabric you stitch on to start with, then straight onto your project. Yeah, absolutely that. So I'm going to take that pin out in just a minute, but I'm just going to take the stitch in. That's it. I've taken a stitch in there. No, let's bring that up again. Let's move it over a little bit because it's not quite on there. So that's it. Pull that out. So I'm just going to stitch a little square. So it's only 4 or 5 stitches, depending on the length of your stitch. So I've just stitched there. So 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. Turn it around. 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches again. Turn it around. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I just, whenever I'm doing a square, I always go over that first row one more time. So it really makes it totally secure. Okay. So we can just trim that little bit there. Trim that little bit there. Okay. So there we have our ribbon stitched on in quite a nice, neat way. And then you can put your USBs in here. Where are mine there? Don't want to lose them, do we? So let's put that one in there. Let's find another one here. So the pockets on this, if you want to do them a little bit shallower, if you want them only to be 2 inches deep, your pockets, that will work. But I wanted them to be a little bit deeper so that it definitely held them there. So, whoops, there we go. So folding that up, and then we can take one piece of ribbon one way. She does, doesn't she? And one the other. And then, oh, I perhaps should have done my ribbon a little bit longer. But, yeah, so perhaps do it a little bit longer than 24. But that is all now held nicely together. Shall I just show you, I've got some bits of fabric here, what a donkey is. So let's, there's a bit of fabric. So a little bit of scrap fabric. Let's find a bit of fabric here. Oh, I've got a fabric here. Right, so I've got something I can stitch together here. And let's just trim that bit off. So, here's a donkey. All you need to do is stitch onto that. It doesn't need to be as long as that, actually. You know, because you don't want to waste thread. So, we stitch on there. Then before you finish the end there, you just push your fabric underneath. Okay, and start stitching. Now, this little donkey, this bit here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to trim that off. Can you see? So, this is what we do. It takes a little bit longer, but it means, so I'm coming down, what it means is that you're not wasting any, whoops, that was not close enough, was it? So, let's get to the end of our stitching, and then we'll stitch onto our donkey. So when we've stitched onto the donkey, we can then clip. Oh, I haven't done it so close. There we are. So there's my stitching. Okay. And my stitching at the back, I've got no nests at all. So I'll just show, if I go, let me go, I'll trim this again. We'll stitch from this side so you can see on the pink a bit better. So I've got my donkey there. We'll come close to that edge, and then I'm going to put my next piece underneath. Now here's my donkey. It's wavering about. So I can trim that off. So I've clipped off my donkey, and we'll carry on stitching to the end here. And I'm going to put my donkey back under. And and then I can clip this piece off, the fabric that I'm stitching, and there you can see at both ends there's no nesting. I can just trim that bit away. That's just excess thread in between, and trim that little bit off. But you've got no nesting there whatsoever, purely because I used my donkey there. Okay, you've heard a spider. You've heard a spider. Yeah, leaders, yeah, I did, yeah, that's just what I thought. I did think it was a leader. A donkey or a leader. Okay, we're all done. We are all done. Yes. So, yes, that's exactly what I did it for. These are all my USBs for the embroidery machine. What you could also do, if you, I was thinking about it, if on your USB stick, in the past, what I've done is have a little swing tag, you know, where you have a tag with a string on it. Oh, thank you, Lynn. You could then put your swing tag on the end here. But if you haven't got that, what you can do, if you put a number with, say, a Sharpie pen onto the holder, the lever here, and then you could write on paper or card, whatever, and slot that into your pocket as well with the number 1, and you can write down all the designs that are on that USB so that you can always see, even if the numbers are mixed up, at least you've got one on your paper with the embroidery designs, one on your USB stick, and you know exactly what's on that one. I mean, at the minute, have I got anything written? I tried to, no, there's nothing written on that one. So I don't know what's on that one until I put it into the machine. But how nice is it to know what you want and be able to see which USB stick's got what you want on it. So as I say, there is the double pocket holder with our little bit of ribbon. Bring that one around there and that one around there, and we'll tie that up. And the single one, where have I just put that? Oh, there it is. So here is my single one there, which basically the single one just folds twice like that. So it looks like a little pouch. And then you just bring the ribbon round and tie that up. So nice and easy. Now what I will show you and demonstrate another time, which is very similar, is this one, which has got 2 pockets. So it's got 1 pocket here and 1 pocket behind it. But it is made slightly different. You could work that out how to make it, but it's the only thing is I found it's a prototype, looks okay, but when you go to put a USB behind there and this here, there's not enough room to do that. So with this one, how I would use this, I would have my little note in the pocket behind. But it looks quite nice. And I've just used a cam snap on there as well. So that will be used for something else, and I'll show you how to do that another day. So thank you so much for joining me on this slightly warm, well, slightly less cold evening than it has been. So it's been a nicer day. It's been miserable, but the sun's come out once, which was pleasant. But I shall be, what shall I be doing? You're so clever. No, I'm not so clever. You're all very clever, because I know that you'll be showing me things that you've made them in different sizes, and you've got different things put in them, and you'll be thinking of all the things you could use this particular technique for. Oh, Pollyanne said it's lovely to be back. Good. So thank you, Carol. Thank you, Josie. Thank you, Jill. So take care of yourselves. I will be back on Thursday, and I shall be doing, I did put a storage tub, didn't I? It's only a little storage tub, and I can't remember what I thought I was going to do there. Something slightly different, but I'll come up with something. Anyhow, take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you Thursday for that. Friday for the Clover Tube Maker. So, thank you for joining me. I will see you then. Bye for now.